Right? Good. Sorry. I eating chocolate. Oh my god. Sorry about that. Good afternoon. I did my demo yesterday on Edit PR, and it went really well. I got to present what I wanted to present, and it worked. So that was good. But now I want to test it on other things. And to do that, we have to make this edit PR an executable npm package. And I'm working on this locally so that I can more easily test it. Because it's kind of funny, I have a PR, this one, which is like, it's exactly the problem. Like, this is the perfect thing to actually use the edit PR on. So I made a branch off of this branch to test edit PR on an actual PR that has this thing, the problem where I don't tell the story. Like, I even got feedback from John Marco, like, this seems like multiple PRs, and in one sense it could be multiple PRs, but I didn't know that at the beginning. I was doing one thing and one thing led to the other, and then but the point is that if I can clean this up into different commits, then that has the same effect. So what we're going to do, I already started this refactor, so I wanted to, I couldn't use Next.js because Next.js has this assumption that you're running it in the actual project, not from node modules. So I went lower level and I tried to use just the TypeScript compiler, but it's because I have a client and I have a server, and then I have some common, I have some utilities, and some of them are common. Like PR client is used both on the server and in the client, and using TypeScript compiler for this stuff, it's impossible. I spent over an hour trying to configure it correctly. And then I decided to use ESBuild. And the beautiful thing about ESBuild, it's not how fast it is, it's just how you can just say ESBuild, this file, bundle it, output here, and then optionally watch. And for the server, just point to the server, bundle it together. It's on node. I target node 14, and this is the output. And then you're done. And then I have a watcher for Tailwind. And then I use, on the server, I just use, maybe I should install. On the server, I just use connect. So it's basically just creating a server. It's parsing the body as text. And it should be working. So we can try to, do I have a build script? Let's see, client build. Let's just, create a build here where we do yarn client build and yarn server build. So we can do yarn build. Oh, what happened here? Could not resolve body parser. Didn't I add body parser? I did not. There we go. Now I have the two thingies, and then I have this start, which is my executable. And we can now change this. So now it should just do exec node dist server JS. That's all I want. What we also need to fix is what files is included in the actual published version, and now if I do node start, oh, address in use. Where am I using it? Yeah, I should probably use a different port anyways. Let's see. Because now I'm using 5000, we should have something more cryptic, so it doesn't crash with 5772. Let's build it, and then node start. Okay, so now it's running, I believe, and now we had localhost 5772. I think there was something wrong, because I suddenly started looking at Koa. I don't understand why I suddenly wanted to start looking at, yeah, by the way, I forgot to fix that. Oh. Oh, sorry. This should be slash API. Oh. Maybe I should keep a build in the background. I'm thinking oh. Serve static. Oh, don't I have my index file anymore? That's interesting. Oh yeah, I think it's because I git ignore. Yeah, I git ignore this, but I have to move the index file in there. Maybe I can just add it here on root, and then we'll copy it in. Yeah, I think we have to do that. So div id root, and then we have a script here which is client.js, and then we also have link rel style sheet. href is tailwind css. Oh, we also have to, how should I do this? Oh, sorry. So the build here should also include tailwind build. Let's see. So now it also holds tailwind CSS. .css, no, tailwind.css. How did file is copied into dist during build? So let's add that. I think that's as easy as copy index HTML to dist index HTML, something like that. Isn't that a command? Yeah, there we have it. Cool. Or if I start now, yay. Okay. Now it should work. So let's add this to, yeah, one more thing is the server. Did I remove its yeah, now it doesn't force push anymore, which is good. Fix build scripts. Okay. I think we're gonna try just publishing this. Yeah, we're going to add types body parser. Okay, so we're going to, now I built it. So we are going to try to publish this. Yeah. Yeah, we have to publish a new version. So let's, this is like, oh, private. So we have start.js and we have the dist, and the start.js is a bin file. And we have the bin there. I think we're good. We have body parser, connect, server static, simple. Yeah, we have all we need. Bump. Okay, npm publish. I need my phone. 34755. Okay, so now that's published. So we're going to try to remove it from here. I have this issue. I can't, like we have pnpm, but I can't run pnpm. Look at this. No matter what I do, it says that I'm running on version 1419, but I'm not doing that. I'm running on 1419, and I have no idea how to fix this. I tried to search Google. I can't figure it out. But we don't actually need to run this locally. We just want to test running edit PR. Well, one thing, of course, we do have to do is oh, damn. Oh, was it did it try to run it as kind of a module CodeSandbox dist server? Oh, so it tried to run it from oh, interesting. So I guess this is what we want to do. Oh, so we have console error console log. Let's do this instead. Okay, let's publish another version. Path npm publish, and let's 67588. By the way, I have someone asking me about like we have a couple of neighbors who has kids on the same age as us. One of them actually went for the third one, which to me is it's just crazy. But we have something called a baby call party, where we on Saturday after kids go to bed, we meet in one of the apartments, and then we drink beers and complain about stuff and encourage each other. I thought it would work. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, because it doesn't actually install it here. Okay, I think we need to... Okay, but let's just... how do we do this? I think we need to use dir name here, but I think... Yeah. So I think... let's see. Path equals required path. So what we want to do here is... We really want to say... Because I think this file, when we do exec here, we want to do that from where this file is run. And this file is actually run in the bin folder in node modules. So what we want to do is we want to say path join. So we want to go up one step, and then we want to go into edit, pr, dist, and then server.js. That's what we want to do. Oh, wait a minute. This doesn't actually work. Because this is, when you run npx, the package... Oh. Oh, this is interesting. Where do we actually read? So simple git. Does it read from where it started? Maybe. Let's just try it. I think I'm just going to use this strategy here. Just publishing. Let's build just to be sure. Because I need to run it. I need to run it as an npx package. I don't want to link it because then it's not like an npx executable thing. So nobody is using this anyway, so let's just keep at it. Oh, okay. So now it should be running. Hey, it's working. Oh, this is exciting. This is an actual PR. Oh. Okay. We're probably going to find issues with building the contents of the file and everything. Well, no, it's... Yeah. Okay. So what's the story I want to tell here? Add example of consuming... Okay, so update documentation, that's definitely one thing I want to do. And then I want to create a commit for just updating the React state source. Yeah, and then I want to refactor secrets to use latest React states. This should be its own thing, optimize hooks provider. Yeah, so let's go into this mode instead. I'm just going to answer the neighbors. Yeah, no, I have to talk to my partner first. I don't say anything wrong. Let's see. Did we toggle mode? No. Oh, this isn't the best UI. Okay. So let's call this update guidelines. And we want to move all of this into that single thing. Maybe update guidelines should really be later. But yeah, we can figure that out. Because we should probably update guidelines. So this is the thing I've been reflecting on, because now it's more about the actual user experience more than getting this thing to work. And the thing I've been reflecting on is like, do you really want to have all your existing commits there? Or do you want to just build up a completely new history? Yeah, it's interesting. But anyways, so yeah, so even here we have, yeah, so this file should actually be part of something else. So one thing I'm not able, how should I approach this? I should probably approach this from, okay, so the guidelines is related to the hooks refactor. So let's look at that first. Where is that thing? There we have it. So this is optimize. Oh, what's happened here? Is this actually working? Yeah, it was only a single commit. Okay, so what I really want to do, I want to yeah, it's kind of annoying. This PR is actually two PRs. One thing is the optimizing the hooks provider, and the other one is updating the latest React states. But yeah, let's try. So let's create a new commit at the start here, where we optimized, let's see, optimize hooks provider. That should rather happen over there. And then we update the guidelines, because that's part of the optimization of the hooks provider. Okay. And then when after updating the guidelines, I really want to update the source of React states. Where's that? CodeSandbox v2. There we go. Okay, so I guess that's actually, yeah, that is actually one. We can say update React state source. Okay, so this is preparation, right? This is optimizing the hooks provider, updating the guidelines, update React state source, and then we have to so we have React use shell and use commit. that should be a different commit. Update React states. Let's see. I think I can actually be quite, yeah, like this UX needs to be better, but let's just use this one for now. So we want to move use React, update the React states, update picture client. So this change should actually happen here. What I'm noticing, I really actually move hunks around. It's actually moving everything around. Okay, so this is updating picture client. And then we have some changes to like the file explorer, which yeah, and then we have the, let's see, registration. What are they doing? Oh yeah, it was using the, oh, picture client. So we could make one commit out of this one and this one. Is there anything else? Or we could say update consuming hooks. So this is more like using, oh yeah, this one should also move over here. But this is more like, yeah, update picture client. Okay, so let's make the next one refactor file explorer. Oh, I don't know if I'm actually able to move deletions, but yeah, like this is interesting. I haven't fixed that. Like there shouldn't be anything here. But I think we can actually move it. We're just trying here, so. Okay, so let's call this refactor file explorer feature. So that would be this one. Oops. Yeah, this is correct. I'm not used to, like, when I select something and I move it into something else, then I bring along those changes. So it's kind of like cleaning up everything, moving back and forward, which is not perfectly intuitive. But yeah, that's the way it works right now. So we want to move that in here. We want to move the deletion in there. We want to move this deletion in there. And that's File Explorer. And we have this change. We want to move that in there and this one in there. It actually looks pretty good. Like it's doing exactly what it's supposed. This is the resulting code. It's correct. So that's nice to see. We already handled the hooks provider. Yeah, so I thought maybe we could create one commit where we just update all the consumers. What is this package JSON? Oh, yeah, this, yeah, nice. This one should also move into update React state source. What's this change? Oh. Huh? Did it add it as a dependency? Yeah, we should remove that. Okay, anyways, we don't care about that. We have to do this again. We're just verifying that this looks okay. Branch management provider. Oh yeah, so I even cleaned that up. Oh my god. I'm doing so much stuff in one PR. It's not like breaking stuff, but it's I kind of see things as I refactor and implement, and then I just fix it. Yeah, so this is remove branch management consumer not in use. So that's this thing. This is the, we're just not using the branch management consumer. And then we could say, we can use this one, refactor. What were these doing? Yeah, because these were using the file explorer. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. This is states related. Yeah, we can call it refactor picture client. So everything else was actually related to me. Yeah, and then we have the temp secrets. Use temp secrets. Yeah, so refactor file explorer consumers. So that's register file, and this one. This is perfectly fine. So we got that covered, that covered, that covered. That should be part of that commit. And then we have the final one is refactor secrets feature. And that's this one. And that's nothing has really changed except like just a tiny bit of stuff. Okay, so this is really what I wanted to do, I think. So now we have optimize hooks provider, which is this stuff. Then we update the guidelines to reflect that. Then we update the React state source. Then we refactor picture client. These two, and just changing the use transition effect instead of use state effect, no biggie. And then we actually refactor the thingy. Oh, there's so much we can do with this user experience. I'm excited to explore this. Okay, so we refactor file explorer feature, remove branch management consumer not in use. That's what we're doing here. See, we're just removing the consumer. And then we refactor file explorer consumers. Yeah, these two could definitely change. We can flip those around. And then we refactor the secrets. And that's it. Okay, so let's remove branch management. Refactor file explorer consumers. So let's flip that around. So branch management, you move over there. Branch management, you move over there. And the consumers was here. Wasn't there one more? Or was this it? Oh, the actual file explorer. Where's file explorer? Oh, there it is. Sorry. There we go. So now we flip those around. Okay. So let's try updating this now and see what happens. Okay, that didn't work. Fuck. We did all that work. Oh my god, no, no, no. We should have tested that. I don't think I actually tested updating. Oh, did we see the... Okay, we can do a simple test here at least to see what the network said. Oh yeah, that's bad. Oh, I got a 413. Payload too large? And why does it go to API changes? It shouldn't go to API changes. Oh, body parser. Okay. All right. Okay, so we have a couple of things to fix. First of all, we're actually not... the server is actually on API. It's not on changes API. Though, how did this actually work? Oh, I think... okay, that's interesting, because I kind of pick up everything pointing to API, even changes, and it just checks the method. Oh my god. Anyway, so body parser. Yeah, we have a limit. So what's the limit? Like, how big was this payload? Request headers. Doesn't it say in content length? Is that like... Yeah, like, we don't care. It can be huge. Okay. So I guess that was actually the only problem. But is that actually how... Options. Defaults to 100 kilobytes. Yeah, that's a bit too small. Okay, but then I think we have a new version. Let's see. Package JSON. Yeah, what we also have to do, we really want to actually fire up the browser, and we also want to actually say something when this is running. So this is like exec error std out. How do I like... I wonder about that. Let's see, yarn build. It like there's no output. I need there to be output, and I want to launch the browser automatically. How do I know when it's actually... Yeah, because there's no output. Maybe we should spawn instead. Yeah, let's use spawn instead. So we spawn. Node. Is it like, should that be the second? I think this needs to be the second thing. So spawn node, and then this will actually be part of the, like that, and then okay, and then we'll do, well, there's no exit really, but let's do this, and we don't care about, let's say our, oh, this is okay, what happens now? Like, why aren't there's no contents? But we are logging, I think. Listener. Oh, but oh, there's just nothing there. console log listening. There we go. Okay, now the question is what actually fires up the browser? npm open browser. This wasn't very popular. I'm kind of going for the popular stuff. Okay, of course, it's Sindre. It's actually in Norwegian. Sindre Sørhus. His story is pretty amazing. Okay, let's oh. Was it open? Yeah. So we're going to try to use that here instead. Import open from open. And I think he actually refactored all his packages to TypeScript. So when we are listening, yeah, so this is the thing. It's kind of nice that the browser just opens. But when we run this on CodeSandbox projects, we don't really want it to open. And I guess it doesn't really work either. So we can just do a try catch around it. Let's just try it. So we'll do open. Was it open? Yeah. So that would be HTTP localhost 5772. Port. Okay, so let's build this and try to start it. It actually worked. Okay, cool. So what we're going to do now is that we are going to remove some logging. What the fuck, that's nice to have there. Is that the only thing I logged? I think I logged something here as well. Yeah, I don't need to log that anymore. Yeah, and I'm not using these merge chunks anymore. Cool. Let's do another bump. Yeah, I actually think I'm logging here as well. Okay. Open in browser, fix file, post, commit and clean up. Push. Just another yarn build, and then we'll try to publish again. 19. Okay. 119975. There we go. Okay, let's try again. But this is pretty cool. Like anyone can just run npx edit-pr. And then it runs. But this shouldn't be here. Okay, let's try it. That's pretty cool. That's actually really, really cool. Okay, now we kind of know what we want to do here. So yeah, so first we actually want to, let's see, update, optimize hooks provider. Yeah, it's basically that. Optimize hooks provider. Or maybe we can now, wait a minute, we're going to change it a little bit. Update to latest React states. Where do we have React states? Any more React states? I thought I had something in the end here. Yeah. Cool. And then we have optimize hooks provider. So optimize hooks provider is the thing called create hooks provider. Yeah, it's interesting. We could actually allow moving the actual commits as well. Not just the contents of it. That's interesting. Yeah, no, it's something to explore. And then we'd rather use this to, you know, we can actually add the guideline there. As well. And then we have refactor file explorer feature. So that would be this one, this one, this one as well, this one, and this one. Features, file explorer index, that one, that one. Boop. And then this would be refactor file explorer consumers. Excuse me. Yes, use file. Oh. No, yeah, refactor file explorer. Oh, this is interesting. Why did this say refactor file explorer consumers? That's weird. That's wrong. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Adam. Yeah, when did you come? Did you see me run npx edit PR and poof, it actually opened the thingy? It was amazing. So now it's an executable npm package. And I'm just playing around with an actual PR I have, which is too big. And I'm like, now we're kind of really testing the user experience, which hasn't been the main focus of this. It was just making it work. So I'm getting ideas now on how to improve this. But it's actually possible to use it, it seems. There we go. Yes. And then we have refactor file explorer consumers. Maybe I'm allergic to Australians. Let's see. Yeah, this will probably fail again, so I can show you. Let's see. Okay, so now we have refactor of file explorer consumers. Yeah, and this one is also part of that. Let's see. And then we have refactor branch management feature. This is the thing that's a little bit weird. Like, we're renaming existing commits instead of like kind of, I don't know what I want there. Something to figure out. But anyways, so we'll move that over there. I feel like a power user already. That's kind of cool. Like, that's what I wanted there as well. It should be like, you just go in and just flip stuff around and it's just amazing. So I think, yeah, so we have one commit that needs to be a refactor picture client. And then we have one, well, let's do refactor secrets feature and then a refactor picture client. So, okay, let's take these one first. That's picture client. This is picture client. And then we have secrets feature. That was just this single thing here. Okay, so when we look here now, we have the first commit is update to latest React states. It's just replacing some code from the origin repo. And then we optimize the hooks provider so that every hook we register gets its own context. And we're also allowed to take an existing hook and derive. So for example, if you have a reducer as a result of a registered hook, you can actually derive the dispatcher from that, and then the dispatcher actually gets its own context. So we have a lot of consuming components that doesn't necessarily consume the state, only the dispatcher. So that just works out of the box. And then we refactor the file explorer feature. And then we refactor the file explorer consumers. And then we refactor the branch management feature. We refactor the secrets feature, and then we refactor picture client. Like, it sounds crazy, like a lot of refactor, but it's mostly renaming. Because there are early scenarios with the. So you would say this is used to take a PR with multiple distinct features. Well, for me, it's... so when I did the demo, it's more that when I implement something, I often start like at the end, kind of. and then I discover things. So the history is almost read better backwards. So that's like one aspect of it. And then it's all these tiny commits in between where like I made a typo or there's some linting errors or type errors, like being able to clean that up efficiently. Yeah, npm packages. Yeah. I'm not sure what you reference with the npm packages thing. But it's also like the demo was like an overly simplified example, which could just be a single commit. But yeah, but for this PR, for example, you can argue in one sense that this should actually be multiple PRs. Because they do not really affect each other. But at the same time, I was actually just going to update the file explorer to latest React states. But as I was doing that, updating to latest React states actually affected the secrets feature. So I had to do something with that. And then I suddenly just saw that the branch management feature, well, I actually had to, and then the file explorer was using this new pattern of deriving the dispatcher. So I got inspired to, on our hooks provider, to, maybe we can actually make that part of the API. So I did that. And then but then I had to remove the consumer from there. And then I went to branch management feature, because now there wasn't a consumer anymore available on the hooks provider, because we didn't really need it yet. Yeah, so I jumped all around. Multiple PR thing. Yeah, so like to kind of give some perspective of everything that's happened, like internally in CodeSandbox, we are discussing, like at Facebook, they use something called stacked diffs. And it's basically creating multiple PRs. So you create a PR, you branch it, you make another thing that will actually run, and you create a PR out of that. And then there's like this custom tool that actually looks at all these PRs, and you can like merge one at a time. But then there's also this perspective of when you actually do have a single, like that's the question, like if a PR gets too messy, is it because it's too big of a PR, or is it because we just have really bad tools to organize our PRs? And for me, the way I think about PRs is that these commits, they are not about runnable code or anything like that, which is, what's it called? What's it called? When you say something that can be taken as, what the fuck, are you stupid? Of course, they should be runnable. I can't remember the term. When you say something that's against the common thought. Yeah, anyways. So for me, it's about just having a PR where you can split up the changes into a story. So the GitHub is such a bad, like everybody's used to GitHub. And the problem with GitHub is that it just puts all the commits into one view. Like there is a way to look at single commits, but nobody uses it. But that's just as much part of this tool as everything else, is that when you actually review a PR, you do that by looking at the story. Like this is chapter 1 of the story. These files were affected in chapter 1. And then this is chapter 2 of the story. These files were affected here. And you can like super efficiently go through the actual story, read each part of it, and not be dumped all these changes in a file list completely out of order, no idea which of the commits it's related to, and so on. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that's the thing. Like some, yeah, exactly. So you have some changes. So how should I put this? So by default, it's about grouping pieces of work into chapters or into commits to tell the story. Like just a simple example where you add an npm package, you create a utility with that npm package, and you consume that utility in a UI, for example, in a UI component. But you didn't necessarily add it in that order to begin with. Maybe you first wrote your own utility that you tried to consume, and then you discovered later that, no, I should use an npm package for that. And the ability to kind of retell that story with what you ended up with is like grouping things, and they're like tied together. They're dependent on each other. But of course, as you point out, as you can see in this PR, some of them are related. So for example, doing the what I originally tried to do, which was to like optimize the hooks provider and refactor the file explorer. I didn't have to go in here and update to latest React states. I could split those into two PRs. One hook provider and file explorer, and one React states. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think it's yeah, because when you have one commit, it's basically the same thing. But do you have like very large commits? Like how many files, and are always those files changes dependent on each other? Do you ever find it confusing going into GitHub, and you have, even though you have one commit, you might have changed like 10 files, and those 10 files has a dependency to each other, like which order do they import and all that stuff, but GitHub just lists them randomly. Like how do you build that mental image of how things relate to each other in that commit? Because that's what I also think these commits can help you with. It's like grouping the files, putting them in order, as well. Yeah, 10 to 100 changes. Yeah. I actually thought about something that we can actually do at CodeSandbox. It's we can actually figure out I think, at least to some extent, we can actually figure out the dependency graph of the files in the commit. So we could actually order the files automatically based on that dependency graph. That's very interesting. Like you would have exceptions, like if you have a package.json file and you like import something you import that npm package in a file, that's not like a direct dependency, but that could also be like you could say changes to package.json is always the first. Package.json, if any changes, is always the first file. But then if you like import something and something imports that thing and imports that thing, you would actually get them in order. Yeah. But don't you wonder, like, why? Don't you like to listen to the reason why the package was added before you see it being consumed somewhere? It seemed like, for me, I have such a hard time building an understanding of what the other developer was thinking and doing when they made these changes. It's just a raw dump of code changes. There's no story there. There's no thought process or anything. And some developers are really good at like writing a good PR description, but still the PR description is completely decoupled from the actual code changes. Oh yeah, do you need a mental image if it's based on a single objective? Yeah, well, yeah, I guess that's in some situations no. If it's a small change, that's the thing. Like I even see when you look at the hunks in Git, if you have smaller changes, those hunks work very well, and it's easy to reflect on what lines were removed and what lines were added, what was replaced. But as you go into more complex changes, it's completely lost. Like you might have removals on, like the hunk might be represented by several lines back in the old version of the document, and now suddenly you're like several lines ahead, and you can't like figure out what was actually removed and what was added and stuff. So that's also something I think we can have better tooling for, so that you are able to split up these, when you make a lot of changes to a file, that you can actually do it in more of in a step manner, so that it's easier to understand for a developer. Just see this final dump of lines being removed and added, to understand like where did you actually start removing and adding things, like which function did you actually refactor first between all these like 5 functions defined by one hunk in Git, for example. It's kind of okay. So the concept is like you start, and then you have a start and you have a final result. The amount of changes that happens between the start and the end result, there's thresholds there in terms of how good the tooling is, and how you can build a mental image, and how you can infer the story of what the developer wanted to do, and actually thought about through the process. And you don't need like massive tooling for something very simple, but you do want tooling for something that's way more complex. Let's see. Sorry, Adam, I'm reading your comments. Like I don't care if I come before that. Yeah, isn't the story the function behind the change? You mean the literal function, like in the code? Or more conceptually, isn't the story the function behind the change? Well, so for example here, we can actually, this is a good example. Was it this one? Yeah, so like, so one can argue that this should be split up into multiple PRs, but this happened. Like I didn't know this was going to be the final result of this PR. And I've tried to, like, in the PR description, I'm describing the changes I did. But when you go here, it's like, okay, first line, I'm using use transition effect instead of use state effect. Why did I do that? There's no information here. Why did I do that? And then I do it again. Like you can, I know I did this because I updated the source for, I updated the version of this thing. But there's nothing here explaining this to me. But if we go here, we see that, oh, I updated to latest React states. So you kind of, just that thing, I think, just makes a world of difference compared to, where is it? Yeah, so I guess kind of my, what's it called? My argument is like, when I'm in a situation where I end up with PRs like this, and having the ability to not expose this to my fellow developers, which is just a complete mess. And I can rather retell my story, so I expose this to my fellow developers. That's a huge bonus. And then you can like argue, why the hell did you even create a PR like this? But that's the thing, like it happens. Sometimes you have PRs that are like super simple, straightforward. But in my experience, most of the time, my PRs are complete, utter shit. Yeah. Yeah, and it's I think maybe it's just the way my brain works. It's like I don't have the inference capabilities of looking at this stuff to understand the story, to understand what the developer wanted to do, to understand how the code actually changed. Just looking at this, it just completely melts my brain. What did I actually change here? And what conceptually changed here? It completely melts my brain. I need to have the actual story from the developer, not just the changes. If I do here, I understand the story. Like so this is so interesting. Like like the story is the function of change. In this case, yes, on this line, I understand that the change was replacing use state effect with use transition effect. And I understand that part of the story, that you wanted to do that. But I don't know why you wanted to do that, just looking at this change. Yeah. Yeah, that would be interesting. Like, that's the thing. I'm reading the Rust book again. I just love the concepts behind Rust. And it would be so interesting to look at PRs in different languages. We do run Elixir on our server at CodeSandbox. I would love to actually look at some of those PRs. I bet they're like way more organized and it doesn't have all that fluff. Like, that would be an interesting approach for a language. Like, how do you optimize a language for diffs? If that even makes sense. Yeah, you had like a hunk compatible, or you would have an accompanying hunk algorithm that would very efficiently understand. Well, that's probably the wrong way to say it, but anyways, have a language and a syntax that would be easy to, well, I guess at the end it's just text changes. But yeah, you do have things like Elm is able to infer what are breaking changes, looking at the public API. Yeah, optimizing a language for change. Like, it's an interesting perspective. Like, yeah, pointing to Rust again, it's like there are some principles guiding you when you want to design a new language. It would be interesting if that principle was, well, this is going to change a lot. Yeah, I never, well, I never explicitly think about how to write something to easily change it. It's not at the front of my mind. Maybe I do it implicitly. Because I do think about it being readable. That's like, for me, that's the one priority, top priority when writing code. It's to make it readable. But when you want to make something readable, you also quickly get into things like you create like you think more interfaces for stuff you create, and in that sense it's easier to change. So I guess it's like a product of making things readable. I also make it more changeable. But yeah, I never actually think, how do I make this code easy to change? Yeah. Maybe I do. I don't know. I've actually never thought about this. Yeah. Yeah, maybe it's, yeah, I think it's just second nature. Yeah, but I'm going to reflect a bit on that. Like, what do I actually think when I write code? Yeah. Huh. But yeah, I want to try to, let's see if we can actually click update now. Oh, it actually stored it. That's great. So if we go here, staging and committing. So this is not actually, can I push? Yeah, git push, set upstream, test edit PR. Let's see. So we should have a new branch here now. Whatever. Let's make it a draft. Oh, draft pull request. So I wonder what happened here. I think this looks exactly the same. But what I would love to do. Yeah. Interfaces has also been, and it's funny because it was C# that actually made me more aware of interfaces. I think it was, it's actually then I remember sitting at the consultancy agency I was working at, and I was jumping into C# and I was like kind of scared because I never actually moved into other languages before. And I just dived into all, I registered for like courses and stuff. And also, I think that's when I started watching the Uncle Bob videos. And it made me a lot more confident as a developer, just doing that and understanding that code, like languages, is just like syntax. It's the same principles behind it. But also learning a lot about how other languages organize their code, and actually making some opinions about stuff you don't like about that other language. That was also like a huge, I'm super glad I got into that project. But yeah, because interfaces for me has always been, it's just looked like boilerplate in the beginning. It's like, why do you create that interface and then write the class, that kind of thing. But then understanding that interfaces is a way to, like, it was kind of like with immutability. I didn't understand what do you actually, I understand like immutability technically, what it is, compared to mutability, but what do you actually use it for? And then I actually saw like a use case of time travel debugging. And then it's like, oh, you can actually use it for something. And then it's like with interfaces as well. It's like, okay, you can write this interface and then you can, well, I guess it depends on the language, but you can create a class and then you kind of get some typing help because you type the interface and now the class has to work like that interface. But it feels like duplicate work. But then you start actually using interfaces for like dependency injection or testing, or even with just thinking about your whole app as consuming an environment interface. Like the app itself doesn't care about where it's running. It's like it just has an interface for talking to whatever is outside the app. And thinking that way is super, super powerful. Yeah. TypeScript is definitely the same. I'm like, every time I change some state somewhere and it yells at me in the UI components that's consuming that state, I always think like, how the hell does anyone dare to change their code? Like, because the UI represents the user experience, so it's like, how like there must be so many regressions in when you don't use TypeScript. It's insane. Yeah, anyways. Yeah, replacing out implementations. I often found that to be a bit like, I remember watching the Bob talk, Uncle Bob talk, talking about like putting your data fetching behind an interface, for example, so that you can get it from local storage, and then you can get it from one database and another database, and maybe from two different databases, and so on and so on. And it felt a little bit artificial. No, I'm going to use Firebase, so why the hell do I want to put that behind an interface? But that's the thing. Like, sometimes it might not make that much sense. But again, like, if you put Firebase behind an interface, that doesn't mean that you necessarily want to replace Firebase with something, but you maybe want to put your application in a test environment, and then you don't want to use Firebase at all. You just want to mock out everything coming from that interface. Or maybe you want to run it on the server, so you still use Firebase, but use Firebase in a different way, for example, or whatever. But again, what I mean to say is that there are definitely scenarios where there is higher probability that you want to replace the implementation. Like the thing we did with the hooks pattern we use in the CodeSandbox projects now. We intentionally make the implementation of the hook an actual implementation detail. We think, because I haven't thought about hooks as like an interface, but a hook in React is an interface. And you can set that contract, like whatever that hook, you can expose something from a hook, and then you can change the implementation details of the hook. And that's such, just thinking about it that way, I think that's also like a very like powerful way to think about the interfaces. Especially in a team where you, like at CodeSandbox, there's so many different tools to fetch data, to manage state, to do different kinds of things. And just having this common understanding that, okay, we have these hooks now. We're not dictating how you should implement those hooks, but we are dictating that you think about those hooks as an interface to the application. So you're free to change out that implementation and write that implementation however you want, but make sure that you expose that functionality in a way that allows us to replace that implementation later. So basically that the thing you return from the hook is not specific to the thing that's used to implement that hook, if that makes sense. Yeah, it's very, very interesting. Okay, so like the PR doesn't look any better from this perspective, but what I would love to try with my colleagues is that I'm actually going to open this web editor. Oh, actually it breaks. Oh, it's the formatting. Yeah, no biggie. We're going to open this and we're actually going to try to run. I'm going to invite colleagues to do the review here instead. Let's see, what the hell is going on here? Oh yeah, I think it's still starting. But how can I run? It doesn't. CodeSandbox states. Let's see, doesn't it have that? I'm wondering if something actually goes wrong. There's a lot of changes I make. It's probably not built. That's the only thing. Use transition effect. Yeah, it's just not built, I think. So we should make sure it actually builds it. Profile production. Let's try building the workspace. And then we are going to try to add a task. Well, we can just try running it first. We don't really care about this stuff right now. But maybe we should let this run before we try running npx. Do I even have npx? Yeah. Exit. Oh. Sampack. What the hell is it? Next public amplitude key is not set. What the hell is this stuff? We just changed to we have cleaned up our mono repo and using pm, and we're getting there's some transition issues with that. But this is weird. Anyways, let's close that. I'm just going to see if it actually builds now. And I'm going to ask my dear colleague Gianmarco to just try looking at the PR from a different, like that's just interesting in itself, to as he was exposed to the horrible PR, and just how does he feel about the PR when he can look at it like this instead. Oh my god, it's so slow. Next is insanely slow. But why is it running a production build? Is this new? Close and stop task. I think that's not what I really want to do. Application profile production, has it been replaced? Oh, no, here it's running. What the hell? Yeah, why was it running? Compiling. That's weird. Oh, Oscar is up. Whatever. Okay, there it's running. I have no idea what that profile thing was. Okay, let's try just running it here. What happens actually? Because we try to open it in a browser and stuff. Oh, need to. Okay. Is that allowed? I don't think that's actually allowed. Yeah, now it's different. Yeah, why does it look for it here now? That's interesting. What we can do though is npm pnpm add edit pr dev. Oh, god damn it. Yeah, I have to go. Okay, so what I want to do, I want to try to add edit pr as a dev dependency. Because that's also a way to consume it. It's like you actually make it a dev dependency of your project. And then you can... so then it actually is installed in the node modules of the project. And then it should work. So I'll try to do that. And then I'm going to use this as like an experiment with my colleagues. Yeah. Cool. I think that's it. I have to go. But yeah, thanks for joining, Adam. And yeah, it's a very interesting conversation. It also makes me realize that I'm not that conscious about but how I do things. That's kind of funny. I do reflect a lot though. But yeah, not specifically like why do I write the code the way I do. I think it's just because I'm just very excited about different concepts, and then I don't reflect that much about my default mode of developing. It's always the next thing. Yeah, you have to let me know, especially now with our kids growing up a bit more and COVID being over. If you're ever in Europe, it would be fun to meet up at a conference or something. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I would love for like this stream I'm doing as well. I got my setup where I can just like give a link. Like it's always here in the UI. I just have a link and you can click it and you join in the browser, and then we can just, it's perfectly synced with everything and we can just talk. Yeah, maybe we should do that next time. I can just give the link and you can jump in and we can talk live. That would be fun. Anyways, have a nice day, and we'll talk more later. Where do I click?